Hello and welcome to this Car Pod.
I am Kennan.
I'm Filippo.
And today there's a lot to cover. Let's start with the big one, the new Mercedes AMG GT XX, which has just been announced. It is this thing, bright orange. It has 1,340 horsepower. It's a four-door sedan. It'll do 223 miles an hour. The downside is it is electric and it looks like this.
It's not beautiful.
I would describe it as a bottom dweller fish. I
Yeah.
think is,
No,
It's
it's
got the
not
mouth.
that
It's got a
bad.
big-
It's not.
Here's my
not-
impression.
It looks very Maserati from the front.
It does look like a big
Surprisingly.
Gran Turismo.
They look like fishes too. Look, the rear picture is actually quite. The front picture has been circulating, but the rear picture is actually quite a bit more enticing. I don't know if you can pull that up, but there's a cool rear image where it's like got a big old Go. The tail lights look cool. Anyway, the point is, it's a 1,300 horsepower electric sedan. Now we had talked about they previewed this. Yeah, pull that up. See, that looks kind of cool, right? Is there no back window?
I mean, no, and it says AMG over where the window would be, which is a
window.
great feature.
Yikes! So it's for a certain type of clientele. Anyway, the point is,
Yeah.
is that AMG on the back digital between the lights?
Yep.
That
Looks
does look digital.
That's a digital badge. That's rare. The point is, this is obviously intended to be a competitor for the Lucid Air Sapphire, the Taycan Turbo S, etc. Those cars aren't really the biggest sellers.
Right.
No, I will say there's some interestingly news hidden within this. It's some new battery technology for
Yep.
Mercedes. It's on an 800-volt electrical architecture, which I don't think other Mercedes are. They claim that it can charge 248 miles of range in 5 minutes, assuming you have an 850-kilowatt charger, which obviously doesn't
No one
exist in the
does.
real world. But like,
Right.
if it did, you
So
could
assuming
charge it
you have your
quickly.
own nuclear power plant, you can charge it really fast. That's very helpful, Mercedes.
I do hope this is them taking a bunch of battery technology and motor technology for performance that then migrates down the line.
Yeah.
Did you see that there's going to be recycled rubber from GT3 racing tires in the interior? Did you see that part of the news story?
But like,
I kind of like it, but I also roll my eyes hearing that.
No,
you know.
this is sustainable. Regardless of all that, and I think it's obviously the power number is amazing. I don't think it looks bad. I think it looks a little weird. It's a little bit of a shame that it's going to cost. They haven't announced pricing, but it's going to cost what, $300,000.
Yeah.
This market segment is not exactly alive with the sound of music. You know what I'm saying?
what does a Taycan Turbo GT cost? Because that's what this competes.
Yeah,
231.
this has like 200 more horsepower than that. But those are expensive cars, and they're not. I mean, is there a huge market for people who want 1,000, 1,300 horsepower of fully electric cars? The automakers are discovering more increasingly that there's not, right? Like the Rimac Nevera and the Pininfarina Battista, like they're all starting to discover, hey, people don't actually want, at this price point, car enthusiasts don't actually want full electric. I have a suspicion this might go down that road too, no matter how exciting it may seem with recycled rubber and an AMG digital badge. I'm going to have fun reviewing it, but
Yeah, I do think it's a smart decision to have a standalone Halo model in a lot of ways for what EV technology is. The issue with the Taycan Turbo GT is that it looks like every other Taycan. Not really, but to everybody else it does.
problem,
The
though,
Lucid Air Sapphire is a Lucid Air.
Aren't you starting to realize, though, ultimately that the enthusiast EVs are just not hitting? Like the i8, the Dodge Charger EV, obviously the Taycan has been successful, but the depreciation is enormous, which suggests to me that they're having to push huge money on it to get it even out the door, and then it falls rapidly in the secondary market anyway because there's not a lot of demand. And isn't that going to be this car too, and any other enthusiast EV?
Here's what every automaker pretty much has backed themselves into a corner where they've stopped development of new engines. They can't actually put that much more power out of their existing 4-liter V8. And so you got to release things that are electric right now. That's all they have in production or in
All I'm going to tell you is this. They might have more X's, but last week we talked about the ZR1 regular X, single X, not two X's. They got a lot of power through a big old gas engine. All I'm saying. And I bet you that car sells fast.
Admittedly, I'm stuck in 2011 where XX is Ferrari's program, and that's really exciting. But, you know, I don't know. These will be cool when they're 130 grand, like a year later. which is a little
They'll be cool when they're 70 grand 2 years later. I mean, my personal opinion is I actually think it's cool. I bet it's going to get a ton of hate online because that's what happens, but I think it's pretty cool. I just think the enthusiast electric car, especially at this price point, I'm not sure there's really a market. No. We're going to see these, and they're going to be the official promo car for this event and that race and whatever, but like I'm not sure there's actually people out there who's that interested in these cars. And I just think if the manufacturers want to go electric cars should be little sedans and crossovers that people like Filippo buy.
I get the thought of a halo car for this. I doubt they're planning on selling many or any. I will also say it looks not very pretty, and that's a mistake.
Right. And also, how do you debut like the new technology? And traditionally, it's been with a halo car that then trickles down. So like, the formula makes sense, but I agree that I just think things are so different now. Manufacturers should probably rethink how they approach stuff like this.
You know how I debut new technology? In a gullwing rebodied as a modern car. Think about it, Mercedes-Benz. Think about it. Give us our next news story, please. We have to move on from the fish car.
Yes. So recently there was a car spotted out wearing camouflage. This allegedly is going to be the Lexus LFR. This is supposed to be the replacement for the LFA. And it was seen driving around Big Bear Lake. What's interesting...
Wait. Can I stop here? Who was it seen by? Who was it seen by?
This was seen by an individual who I believe reads Motor Trend and sent it to them. And
there have been a bunch of spy photos that have gone to all the publishers, but Johnny, I think, may have seen this one himself. I'm not sure, but Johnny.
I'm going to talk about Johnny for a second. Johnny Lieberman, who is Kennan's hero, okay? He posted this picture on his Instagram, and that's how I know about this car. Johnny has a YouTube channel. I'm not promoting the channel because I'm not allowed to, but for the last 12 years, I've gone on Farrah's podcast every Christmas. You know about this? And I've said, why doesn't Johnny Lieberman have his own YouTube channel? Yeah. And now he's launched it, and it's called Johnny's Cars or something of that variety. And he's got one video out, and you should check it out. Johnny is a friend of the show. And by that, I mean he has never been on the show, told me that he listens to the show, submitted anything for the show. But I do have his number in my phone.
Driving with Johnny is the name of the channel.
Driving with my mistake. Driving with Johnny. All right. So the Lexus
and in this photo, we were driving with Johnny because he spotted.
You know why I don't want to talk about this? Because
I know exactly why.
Go ahead.
You don't want to talk about it because this isn't the production car. It's not really news until it's a real thing. They're just driving this around. And
But why specifically do I feel that way about this car? Do you remember? You might be too young, but I remember when the LFA debuted.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. It was about
2000.
1997. And then 15 years later, the car actually came out. So I'm thrilled that Lexus is thinking about this, and I can't wait to discuss it upon its real debut in 2040 when it's down 3,000 horsepower compared to rivals.
Yeah, exactly. The interesting thing to me is that you can clearly see it in the picture that there are 4 exhaust pipes, meaning it will have an engine of some kind. We don't know what. It's rumored that it will be a twin-turbo V8. We'll see. But
what if it's a twin-turbo V8 with a plug-in, Kennan? Do you still respect it?
Sure, I suppose. I mean, I like the LFA a lot more, but what are you going to do? But nonetheless, it's driving around. It's out there. Who knows when we'll see this.
It's interesting that they're investing any effort in another Halo car.
Totally. It is kind of odd.
Especially because ultimately they realized with the LFA that it would be smarter to downscale the Halo, which they did with the LC, which I think has actually done an okay job of being a Halo car. Not a great job, but an okay job. But the Halo car for the brand really ought to be the LX, right? Like Mercedes' Halo car ultimately is the G-Wagon, despite all of their attempts to make it other
GTXX.
Right. Like Lexus really ought to lean into the LX being their Halo, but they keep trying with these sports cars that hit to a small audience.
Well, it is interesting. They've been hinting at that they may turn this into a GT3 car. So this might be something they want to then take racing, which I could see being pretty cool.
They've been a big sponsor for some races lately. Yeah. We did a bunch of ad reads for Lexus races where they had raced like an RCF car. Unfortunately, they no longer have an RC for sale. Like the Lexus RC is dead.
Right.
But,
So I don't know. It could be something cool.
Yeah.
Remains to be seen.
The concept of it is cool, but another automatic plug-in situation. We're going down NSX territory.
Maybe they're going for stiction.
We're going down NSX territory, so it'll be a car you love then. You love the
Yeah, I'm actually softening on the new NSX. I just want, can I tell you what I want? I want 3 pedals and a V8.
Welcome to my world.
So sue me. You see what 911 SUs are selling for in the secondary market?
The V8. Famously.
Enthusiasts want, well, you get the point. I'll settle for a flat 6 if it's got 7 million horsepower. All right, move on to the next news story. If Lexus will do a flat 6, we'll take that too.
Okay. All right. Moving on.
This is not a news story. We're going to cover this.
Yes, because there is actual news on this.
Folks, welcome to the news where we talk about stuff that's going to happen in 2034.
Okay. For a long time, we've known that Mazda was talking about an RX-7-ish thing or some other sports car in their lineup. Their chief technical officer said that there will be likely another rotary sports car that will be a separate model, not just like a version of the MX-5 Miata. It would be, they said it will be a good successor for the RX-7.
What have you heard more? That there's going to be another recession coming, or that Mazda will come out with a new rotary-powered sports car? I've been hearing that since the last one away 13 years ago.
Remember the plans for like a rotary Mazda 6 and a diesel Mazda 6 in the U.S. and everything else Mazda's ever promised?
Mazda's been talking about... anytime Mazda feels like they're losing enthusiasts on social media, they just drum up the idea that they're going to make a rotary again. And people are like, oh, they're going to do it this time. They're going to do it. It's like the mid-engine Corvette, which was a rumor for 50 years. And
the things they said about this, they did confirm this will be a 6-speed manual rear-wheel drive lightweight construction car, and that the rotary will serve as a generator for the electric system to run the car. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll certainly see.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah, you can say a lot of things.
It's interesting. Mercedes-Benz confirms that they're making a 1,300 horsepower electric four-door sedan. Mazda talks about making another rotary sports car. We'll see. Give us our next news story. There's not enough to cover here. This is not. I don't believe that's news until it's real. Yes. Our next news story comes from Hertz. Filippo, you know about Hertz. Hertz is a rental car company.
I like Hertz sometimes.
They got this thing now where they're going to scan the cars for issues. So when you turn them back in, if you scraped it or dented it or whatever, they'll do a scan, as opposed to you sitting there in the sun at Nashville Airport arguing with the Hertz attendant as to whether you did the damage or not to the Chevy Tahoe LS that you've rented. Okay. So now they're doing this. They said they've already got it at Hartsfield in Atlanta.
They're launching it at the Atlanta airport. I'm into it. So for nobody else will be, by the way. I think I'm going to be alone in this. But for a long time,
it could work okay.
One of two things has happened. If you rent from like a local place, the employee goes out there and like marks the car with you, and like that's fine. But then you're kind of relying on whatever like the person of that regional one in like small town North Carolina, and then the person in Massachusetts driving
the previous one, right? Yeah.
Alternatively, at like an airport or a large location, you just pick it up and drive away, and they've looked at the car beforehand. They'll look at the car when you come back, and you have no visibility into anything. And it's so dependent on each individual person who was trained for 30 minutes on like a webinar on how to do it. I would kind of prefer that there's images from every single angle of the car and like an actual proof of this is what the car looked like before you picked it up. This is what the car looked like after you picked it up.
I agree. People think they're going to use this to screw you, and they could.
To be clear,
they could. I mean, if it gets too obsessively detailed, then people will stop renting from them. So they have to be careful. But like, if they have full 360 pictures from before and after, it's going to be pretty clear what happened. Now, this is a good example of why you should do what I always do when I rent cars, which is buy the insurance. Buying the rental car insurance is generally perceived among the populace to be a scam. However, when you have rental car insurance, that you can crash the rental car, and I do often. The feeling of having rental car insurance is so nice. The last time I crashed a rental car, which was the last car I rented, I ran into the thing and I was like, I don't really care. I'm good. And then I just moved on with my day. Filippo, do you agree with me?
No, I've literally never been in any kind of motor vehicle accident, nor do I intend to. But I
didn't. I want to be clear. I didn't hit a person or a vehicle. I ran into a cement.
Oh, so something that was there, not moving, quite visible. Yeah, okay, that's better.
I was trying to get into a tight parking spot, and I was like, you know what? I got to get tight, and I got tight. You know what I'm saying?
And now the next person that rents that vehicle won't be subject to the fines because they will know that you were responsible, and that's great.
Yes. Exactly.
Now, I will say, part of the story was also that somebody got charged. Like there were like a little bit of some curbing on the wheel, and the AI machine also said it's going to cost this much and this much and this much to fix it, and they thought it was outrageous. But that's exactly what happens as is. It's somebody plugging it into a computer and reporting it out. Like, that's not new.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, and honestly, what happens as is, sometimes you get charged for stuff you didn't even do. So at least in this case, I mean, people get into you get into knockdown, drag out fights with people. $1,300, and that was already on there, and now you got some proof.
I will say, in the past, you could also game it by going to the employee that looked least engaged. But now you maybe can't, and that's unfortunate.
Well, Kennan, and this may put a stop to Kennan and my favorite thing, which is when we need tires. Kennan, I mean, I don't know if we should reveal this, but when Kennan and I have shared a Ford Taurus for a while, and when we need tires, we go rent a Ford Taurus from Avis and then get new tires.
Hey, man, maybe, all of a sudden it looks like I have new tires. It's a couple
now
cold
the
ones.
AI is going to detect that we did that. Oh, no.
Damn.
And we have never siphoned fuel. We've never siphoned fuel.
Well, because you have to return it in full.
No, you prepay and then you take the fuel. You siphon fuel in the airport parking lot.
I will say the one thing that is notable is Hertz has been in the news a lot for stealing cars from their customers. There have been a bunch of news stories and legitimate legal issues where somebody has rented a car and then had it towed away, and Hertz says that they stole it. So it's a little questionable of how their systems work.
Okay.
That's a drawback, by the way. That's a big drawback. If you rent a car, you want to have the car for the duration of your rental. You do not want the car to be taken from you mid-rental.
Yeah,
correct.
You have to hold the reservation. Anybody can just take them.
When I crashed that minivan in Italy, I still wanted the van. I wasn't. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next story.
Here at This Car Pod, we're friends on and off camera. One of the best parts of our week, every week, is our group car dinner. It's a tradition we never miss. And this week's sponsor, Cash App, has made the one awkward part of the night, splitting the bill, so much easier. Because let's be honest, splitting the bill used to suck. Everyone pulling out their wallets, trying to do the math while the waiter hovers, arguing over who's going to pay. It was always weirdly stressful. But once we all got on Cash App, everything changed. Now, one of us just picks up the tab, sends out the requests, and boom, everyone pays before we hit the road. No awkward IOUs, no I'll get you next time, just clean, quick, and done. And you can send payments down to the penny. We're always making dumb little challenges like, Kennan, I'll pay you $3.17 if you parallel park in one try. With Cash App, I haven't, but I can literally send exactly $3.17 on the spot. It's instant, it's specific, and honestly, it just makes stuff more fun. They've also got built-in protections. If something looks off, like you're about to send money to the wrong person, the wrong Kennan Rolson, Cash App will give you a heads up. It's like your money's got a personal bodyguard. If, for whatever reason, you don't already have Cash App, go download it now. Sign up, enter our code CARPOD, C-A-R-P-O-D, in your profile, send $5 to a friend, and you'll get $10 just for getting started. For a limited time only, new Cash App users can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, there's no catch. Just download Cash App and sign up. Use our exclusive referral code CARPOD, C-A-R-P-O-D, in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. So far,
oh my God! What is this?
This is my favorite news story. This is the 2026 Nissan Armada Nismo, which is real. A couple of things that will excite Kennan. Power is up. The normal Armada has 425 horsepower. This has 460. If you go to the Middle East, the Nissan Patrol, which is the same car, Nismo actually has 35 more horsepower, but we're limited.
Wow.
35 more horsepower than that.
Yeah, for some reason. It has an aggressive body kit, as you can see.
Very aggressive.
22-inch wheels, a retuned suspension and steering system. It is also lower than the regular one by some minimal amount. That means that ground clearance, only 8.9 inches now.
It's just insane. Why would you make this is...
This car is exclusively for the Middle East. It will be sold in the US, but it is for the Middle East. They've made that really clear. They have said that their customers in the Middle East markets have requested this for some reason.
You go there, people do it. People mod them.
But it is a car.
I'm disappointed in myself because I've reviewed
for not owning this
one. Well, I reviewed the regular one, but I haven't posted the video yet. And now I've been upstaged.
No, you may not.
You have.
Well, now I obviously have to review this because it's so appealing. So the Middle Eastern one has 495 horsepower. Kennan, that's more than an F430. Now, would you rather have, and I bet they're the same money, would you rather have this or an F430?
This is $70,000 is what they expect. Pricing has not been confirmed, but something in that ballpark.
70 would be a bargain because the Sequoias are expensive. Now, there's no GR Sequoia, but damn it, there should be. So this is real. When is it coming to dealers, Filippo?
It should be landed in the fall.
In the fall. Kennan, you going to make a deposit?
Absolutely not. It is quite a vehicle. I guess good for the Middle East. Though.
It is
people ripping around.
Quite a vehicle.
It is weird that they're doing this. They have an off-road version, which they should, and everyone does.
Yeah,
it's weird that they're doing like a street performance.
Right.
By the way,
a vehicle that weighs as much as a small car.
One other reason you'll be excited. This is the highest output of the VR35 DDTT engine. Is in the Nissan Armada in the Middle East, not here.
I did not know that, and now I do.
All right, give us our next news story. That's real. That's tangible. That's something you can touch. Oh, yep. Thomas and James.
Yeah, we love our friends at Throttle House, soon to be Top Gear Grand Tour, whatever it is. But the story is not about them. It's about the Rolls-Royce Spectre, which is this all-electric Rolls-Royce.
Yes.
Rolls-Royce said in an interview with The Drive last week that the Rolls-Royce Spectre is getting really young owners. So the average age for somebody that is new to Rolls-Royce and buying a Spectre, so where the Spectre is their first car, first Rolls-Royce, is 35 years old.
Wow, that is really young.
It's really young.
Really young. Apparently, on average,
young considering what those cost. Isn't that like a $400,000+ car?
Yes, I believe so.
Yep. Apparently, the average Rolls-Royce owner is now only 42. That they used to be around 60 years old, like 10 years ago.
That surprises me too. I'm sure the Cullinan has helped with that. That's surprising.
Yes.
Yep. And it just, I suspect their goal was that these would sell, and they clearly are selling to young consumers in a way that I don't associate with Rolls-Royce. 40% of Spectre buyers are new to Rolls-Royce. Like their first Rolls-Royce is a Spectre.
I got to tell you, we talk a lot about how EVs aren't the biggest sales cars, especially at the price point. I do see, when I'm in California, I do see a lot of Spectres around. Because when you really think about it, like the world of EV, this is perfect for the world of EV. It's quiet,
torque for days.
Seamless. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I've always felt that. I felt that this is the perfect app because the engine, when you drive a Phantom, it's like as you do, the V12 really isn't part of the experience. That you appreciate the smoothness and refinement, but you don't hear it. You're not supposed to. In fact,
they're intentionally trying to engineer it out, essentially, which electric allows you to do.
Totally. And the car weighs a ton already. So it's like you're not really looking to conserve weight necessarily.
Of all the EVs I've driven, like obviously the desirable, the Model Y and the Monkeey are really good, but like this is one of my favorite EVs I've driven. I think it is just a perfect application, really well done. I think an SUV would probably be a smart move, but I don't know how well they actually sell. I see them depreciating and with offers, but that's kind of true of all Rollses. Cullinans have lost a lot of value. But it's an appealing car, and if it's gotten young people to Rolls, they're probably really into that.
They must be thrilled. And by the way, if you're 35 and don't own a Rolls-Royce Spectre, do better. Do better.
Do better. Kennan, do you have any advice for non-Rolls-Royce Spectre owners?
Well, I mean, you can always get a used Phantom on Cars and Bids and start there.
I'm not ready to move on from this news story. We got Thomas and James there, and I want to talk about Stradman. I want to talk about Stradman.
Oh.
Now, Stradman's not related to Thomas and James. I don't know if they've ever even met, okay? They may have never even met. But Stradman is selling his Koenigsegg, and do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes.
Good. I mean, it was inevitable, right? Like the amount of money he was paying for that car and how unreliable it is seemingly all Koenigsegg's are. Like it's not a surprise at all. That's less newsworthy than the Nissan.
I've said many times that Stradman is my guilty pleasure. Like, I love watching him. That has switched to Whistling Diesel. I'm not guilty about Stradman anymore. I'm just open about it. I am. Well, Whistling is like guilty pleasure, right? But Stradman selling the Koenigsegg. That is big YouTuber news, folks. Mark it in your calendars.
As soon as it happens, because it's obviously famously easy to sell a $3.1 million a used car that was previously owned by a YouTuber, should be an easy sale. It'll happen tomorrow, I have no doubt.
The Koenigsegg market is strong like ox, Filippo.
There aren't that many. That's got to help.
All right.
He did drive it real miles in the time he owned it. Like, he got to experience it. He said in his video where he announced it that he's hopeful to eventually own another one, which I do believe he truly is. But
the best thing to do with a Koenigsegg is to sell it. I hate to say this, and I don't know if I'm revealing any secrets here that I shouldn't be, but I know a few people who own Koenigsegg's, and they all have endless problems. And it's not like you can go down to your local Koenigsegg dealer, or in Filippo's case, to a shade tree mechanic down the street who does brake jobs in the parking lot of his apartment complex and ask for servicing.
I mean, you can ask the guy. He'll do it. He'll do anything. They
fly a fellow in from Sweden whose name is Lars, probably, and he's got to work on it, and they're difficult. That's the drawback of building every single component in-house. It's a cool idea in theory. In practice, it leads to a lot of issues, and Stratus had a considerable amount of issues with his car, and they're difficult buys and difficult sells and difficult owns.
Yep.
And that's Koenigsegg.
Also, $35,000 a month is quite a carrying cost.
Yep. Well, hey, go Squadron, baby.
35
that much.
Is that much?
Because he's leasing it, so it's a fixed monthly payment.
And what do you drop $45,000 a month on?
I mean, I would buy $35,000 cars every month. That sounds nice to me.
You can have the nicest C39 and 5 every month.
No.
All right, move on. We got more news. We can't have more news. There must not be any more.
Oh, there's one more piece of news.
I'm not talking about the Ferrari boat. I'm not discussing it. Move on to the next story.
Move on.
Oh, come
Ferrari
on.
announced they're doing a boat. It's not interesting. Move on.
I have such a good joke.
Ferrari also sells jackets and hats and keychains.
No, I want to do this. Can I please do the joke?
Fine, do it and do the joke, and we will laugh, and then you have to move on.
Okay, do you want me to go back?
No, keep going.
To cover. Yeah. Go back, but we're not going to edit this, so you go back. All right. What's the next news story, Kennan? I can't wait. All right.
All right. Despite this looking like some sort of fly, Ferrari has announced that they're going to build a boat, a racing boat. They're taking their racing pedigree and applying it to not land, water. Now, some would say that maybe they should make sure their wings are screwed together so they don't get disqualified from Le Mans, or I don't know, try to win a race in my lifetime. But instead, they've decided, no, we're going to build a boat. They are running out of stuff to do. This is just one of the most ridiculous things I've seen, and I'm just.
Can I buy the boat? Is Stradman going to buy this boat? Is that why
you can't buy the boat? And they're not even sure what they're going to use it for. They're going to go test it, and they said, if it's eligible for something, we'll do it. More useful consumer advice on products from the company that we love in Italy.
The project is being led by people like Giovanni Soldini, who's an experienced Italian ocean sailor. And Marco
what,
Guglielmo.
Are you just reading this on some press release?
He is, yes. He's reading what I hyperlinked. But great. It looks like a fly, and it's going to say Ferrari on it. It's not going to be built at the Ferrari factory.
Matteo Lanzavecchia has been the CTO of Ferrari Hypersale since 2022.
Can I say something about this? I really liked the 612.
So, me too.
Okay.
And the 599. And
excellent. I'm thrilled to hear it.
Focus on cars.
Let's go.
Ferrari.
Can we move on? Do we have more to talk about?
That is all.
All right. That's great. All right. We move on to the Talk Car. The news is over, thank God. We move on to the Talk Car segment. Now, in this segment, we're going to talk about cars. Now, the Talk Car segment is brought to you by Kennan.
Oh, I thought it was brought to us by Johnny Lieberman. But
it's brought to us by Kennan, but specifically the video he did with the BMW
you know
E9.
what? Actually, the Talk Car segment today is brought to you by the Border Division of the California Highway Patrol. Kennan, can you pull up the picture, please? The Border Division of the California Highway Patrol. Good to see you guys out there. All right, let's move on to the Talk Car segment. Kennan, what do you got for us today?
So quite a few things. So the first thing I would like to talk about is a car that we have live on the site that I'm very, very excited about. It's not that Mercedes thing. It's this car. So we have an E9 BMW Batmobile, the E9 3-liter CSL Batmobile, a legitimate series, or is it series? It's the first of the second series. So it's the one you want that had the body kit, and it's live on Cars and Vids. I did a video on it. You should go watch it. It was a lot of fun to put together. But this car is unbelievable. It's the non-city package, so which is important in the CSL community, of which Filippo is a part, clearly. But it has all the lightweight stuff that BMW intended. It has the body kit. It has the M colors. It has a nice restoration. And I got to drive it, and it was lovely. And I can't believe we have this car on the site. This makes me so happy because it's this is a legitimate icon, something I have bowed down at the altar of and just am in awe of. And to get to drive one and then to have it on Cars and Vids is a thrill.
Yeah. E9 is incredibly cool. The Batmobile is incredibly cool. Very, very, very special. I want to give a shout out to Kennan's video.
Not the Kennan,
Kennan made a video about this car, which is on the Cars and Bids YouTube channel, I think. And
that's correct.
And Kennan made a video about the car, and it's incredible. It's like really high quality. Like, you know, my videos, it's not like that. It's good.
No.
It's actually good.
Right.
And the video is obviously coinciding with the auction, which is we're trying to sell this automobile here to some lucky Batmobile owner. It's just a very, very high quality video for a very, very special high quality car. And it's very, very much worth going to watch the video because it's really, really cool.
Well,
and the car is really cool. It's a worthy video of a very special car.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And credit to Sean and our production team that helped put it together. I mean, it was just a thrill. Like, it all comes together very nicely. And
Look at this video.
yeah, the video is good.
You say credit to Sean. Is he the fellow who told me to get rid of the hats? Is that the same Sean?
Yeah.
No, different Sean.
Different Sean. Very beautiful video.
different.
Please go watch the video. Check out the auction. You know, I've always felt this car was cool. I haven't paid a lot of attention to it until now it's live, and I went through all the pictures. Damn. What a thing. Hey, Kennan, what are those seats like? I was thinking about this when I was looking at the pictures there. Are they tight?
Completely unusable. Yeah, they're the hardest seats in the world to get into. They look like it's a cross between, like, you can tell this is supposed to be a seat, but they're the most aggressively bolstered things in the world.
Yeah.
But they're more like it's the 70s idea of a lounge chair. Like, it's not. It's like
with bolsters.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. This is like if Eames designed a racing seat, this is it.
In the days before, like, real sports seats where they figured out how to do it right, this is kind of what you had. Honestly, it's a pretty cool aggressive sports seat for the early 70s. This is better.
Really cool.
I mean, you get into a 60s Ferrari and you have like a chair.
Oh yeah, you weren't I didn't slide around in this thing, but getting in and out was really difficult.
Yeah,
which I had to do
because the bolsters are so high. It needs like a fold-away bolster.
Well, that and the steering wheel comes out so far and is so large in diameter, like squeezing between it, there's not a lot of room.
Yeah.
But the seats were wild, and the look of the car is crazy. I have to say, driving it around Orange County, which is specifically like Newport Beach, Crystal Cove, like Laguna Beach, that area, sees a lot of crazy cars. Everybody freaked out over this thing. People, like, we had to get gas in it, and everybody came out of the gas. They're like taking pictures of it. Like, cool. I was stunned at how much attention it got. Some people knew what it was, some people didn't. But like,
people said Batmobile.
Well, people are like, yeah, like they knew it was like a CSL. Like there were some people like that, but then there are a lot of people like, what is that? Like they'd just never seen it before, and it looks ridiculous. But
we have a lot of very special cars on the site right now, and recently, honestly, generally.
Yeah, totally.
But this is one of the more special ones.
This episode of This Car Pod is brought to you by Acre Gold. Now, you all know that I'm all about finding value, whether it's a pristine 964 911 or an immaculate E46 M3. But let's talk about a different kind of asset, Acre Gold. Inflation's hitting harder than a V12 at Redline. Gas, car parts, even car washes are through the roof. Acre Gold lets you invest in real 24-karat gold bars for just a few bucks a day. It's like buying a classic car that never rusts. No finance degree needed, just pure, shiny gold delivered to you. Go to getacregold.com, protect your money, keep it golden. That's getacregold.com. When I'm not driving during the summer, I'm at the pool, French 75 in hand. And when it's time to swap the driver's seat for a chaise lounge, I'm wearing Chubbies. Their lined swim trunks are absolutely dialed. Quick drying fabric, stretchy in all the right places, and best of all, a built-in boxer brief that keeps everything in place without this swampy mess drama. I wore a pair last weekend that I ended up wearing all day, swimming, grilling, and yes, even behind the wheel of my M5 on the way to the pool party. They passed every test, and they're the only swim trunks I've ever owned that are able to do this comfortably. And once the sun dips, I throw on their everywhere shorts, which are so comfy, it honestly feels like a cheat code. They look clean enough for dinner, but they feel like you never left the pool. If your legs have been stuck in jeans all winter, set them free. Chubbies has everything you need to make the most of summer, from the pool to the pavement. Whether you're suiting up for cannonballs, cookouts, or casual Fridays, Chubbies has you covered. For a limited time, Chubbies is offering our audience 20% off your order with the code CARS at chubbyshorts.com. That's code CARS, C-A-R-S, at chubbies, C-H-U-B-B-I-E-S shorts.com. Support our show and let them know we sent you. Summer is here. Dress like it with Chubbies.
And on that subject, Kennan, can you talk to us about, you got another BMW thing here. This isn't just because Kennan is obsessed with BMW. Kennan, tell us about the Z8.
Yes. So it's not live on the site yet, but it will be soon. So I recently drove a BMW Z8 when we were in New Orleans. It's one of the cars that's coming shortly in a series that we filmed a couple of cars there. And It's perfect. That's the car I've been searching for forever.
Yeah, I'm stunned by this.
I know. Nobody is
M5 with a
surprised at all.
Great.
Yes, nobody's surprised by that. But the thing is, it's like, it isn't. It was really negatively reviewed in its time because it was like supposed to be a sports car, and it was like BMW just doesn't do halo cars all that well. The CSL was great, and it was built for homologation purpose, which was fine. The M1 that came after it, like as a halo car, was a sales failure. Yep. Then the 850 CSI, sales failure. So like the M8.
Yeah, no, you're right. The Z8, continue it. The Z8 was what had its issues in its day. Then the i8 was their next halo car, which also was a huge dud. Right. BMW has never been able to figure this out.
No, I think the Z8, relative to what it was probably the most successful of them, but it also was never followed up by anything. The car was so good, and I really enjoyed driving it. And to the point, like it wasn't like a sports car or a supercar. It is one of the best cruises I've ever experienced. Like you just want to cruise top down on the PC8.
What did you like? It's your same powertrain. I mean, I think one of the things that I like about that car, obviously it's beautiful. The interior, I think, doesn't get enough credit for how special it is.
It is special.
It's very special.
Because it has some very unusual and special design elements that I think go well above and beyond. That they really could have done parts bin, and they really did not. I think it's cool as hell. In its day, it was thought to be maybe a little too soft for a supercar, and it is never appreciated greatly because of that. However, as all these cars now are outclassed in terms of speed by everything, I imagine it's the experience is cool. Like, what is that? What you enjoyed? Like the sort of cruising around in an M5 convertible?
Yes, I mean there were a number of things. So yes, the powertrain is great. It also weighs 500 pounds less than the M5, and so it was. Wow. It wasn't slow, but it is interesting because, like you said, it's 400 horsepower is the same as the Ferrari 360, and so like people didn't know where it fit. But the interior stuff was really special. I taught you that you squeeze the headrests to raise and lower them, which I think all BMW should have. That it makes so much sense. But as someone who just like appreciates that era of BMW, and like it just combines the exoticness of the top-down experience with all the special touches, the metal like strakes on the steering wheel. It makes you feel special. The M5 does too, but it's a completely different thing. And so that car, it's a very different car.
The M5 is special, but the Z8 is like, it's special on a totally different level. It's just that they didn't go all out for performance, and so it has never really caught on with the market. The market has always viewed it as a bit of a cruiser, but I'm not surprised it's a Kennan car. I've considered getting one off and on over the years, only because I think they're kind of bargains. You can get in and out of them for about the same money, and they're relatively reliable in the sense that like that motor is well known. You know, it's not like it's known how what goes wrong, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I'm used to it. Bring it on. I will say that was the final point on this. It was interesting to drive because the one I drove has like 24,000 miles, something like that. It was interesting to drive a transmission that I'm used to with that low of mileage on it compared to mine, which is mine's worn in like a nice baseball glove, but that thing was crisp and perfect. Like it was like, that's how it would have driven. Like
that is probably one benefit of the Z8s over a lot of the M5s. They're probably just generally nicer. Like the stuff hasn't, whatever breaks on the M5s at 100,000 miles, very few Z8s have gotten there.
They're special, so people took really good care of them, or just didn't use them that much, to be honest, which means you have seals and things you have to deal with. But generally speaking, it lived up.
Or taillights. Do you want to tell about the taillights?
The taillights, allegedly, and I haven't confirmed this, but you claim...
There's no allegedly. Go on the Z8 forums, dude. You're not spending time on the Z8 forums?
I will cross-reference the part on Real OEM and take a look and make sure for sure that it is as expensive as you say. But allegedly, each taillight, each individual neon taillight, because they use neon for some reason, is 10 grand. So
no. It's 10 grand for the pair. It's 10 grand for the pair.
Oh, never mind. I just said that. That's not something.
Here's
what taillights
happens.
cost now.
Well, the difference, there's two big differences, Filippo. Number one is these fail because the intent was that they would use neon. LEDs hadn't really, we weren't sure where we were going after halogen. BMW decided to pioneer neon lights with this car. Obviously, LEDs became the thing instead. Everything else went with LEDs. It's the only car that ever had neon. They fail pretty regularly. I'm on the Z8 forums right now, and it says $49.19 with tax for one taillight. That does not include install. So it's 10 grand for a pair plus install.
You're buying a $200,000 car. It's fine.
I'm not looking to spend 10 grand on taillights.
Well, don't have the rear then. I guess that's
Filippo just thinks stuff should be expensive. You know, back in my day, you pay more, you get more. I will say, to be fair, remember when the Z8 came out, BMW was like, we're going to have a 100-year supply of parts or whatever. That was their thing.
Yep, I can tell you from experience based on the engine, that is a lie. They just lied.
Total lie. All right. They just wanted to prop up a resale.
That's a question. When do we reach the point where a low or equivalent mileage M5 is the same as the Z8? Because like a really low mile, 10,000 mile M5 at this point is 150. I don't know. They never come up for sale at that low miles. Like a 5,000 mile Ethernet M5, has that surpassed a 5,000 mile Z8?
That's
probably
not
close.
that dumb of a question.
It's not as dumb as it seems on its face.
Thank you.
But it is. I think it is.
That's where I thrive.
I think it is probably close, and probably the person who wants them wants both.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's an interesting point. We'll have to see.
All right.
Continues to evolve.
I want to talk about, Filippo, the last talk cars that we're able to talk about. Well, we'll do two. We got to talk. You can tell us about your 10,000 mile GTI experience. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've had the GTI that I bought on Cars and Bids about 5 months ago. We've driven that 10,000 miles. Bought it with just about 13,000 miles. We crossed 23,000 this last weekend.
It's impressive.
Wow.
It's a lot of miles on that car. It's been wonderful. There was a squeak that was happening that was driving me insane, and then I tightened the headlight, and the squeak went away. How this occurred, I have no idea, but it did.
What?
But now we're good. The squeak was the headlight moving just a tiny bit and rubbing against the bumper. God. And I don't know, whatever. I tightened it in my mother-in-law's driveway, and it's good now. So that's good. But I am considering, I've had it for 10,000 miles. New used car prices, because my car's only 2 years old, are up. So here's the thing. I've been looking around, and I've been offered to sell the car for an amount that makes me money. Bought the car for 21 grand. The used car market's really hot right now, especially for just like off of brand new cars because of tariffs. The values have gone up for those cars specifically. And I could make money. I could sell it for like 24, 25 grand.
He's out already.
That's 4 grand more than I paid. 20 all in, I'm at 24, and I've driven it 10,000 miles. And I could sell it for 24. And 10,000 free miles is real.
Yeah, but it's a vehicle that currently provides utility. You'd have to replace it unless
I would have to replace it, but I could replace it with something fun, like a 997 or a 991 or a C7 or something like that.
Or I don't know, could have just bought that car in the first place and not have to go through this.
But instead I drove 10,000 miles for free.
Have you sold your Fiat or not?
No, I really need to, but
God,
haven't got around to it.
There's nobody who is less of a thing doer. This is so. You're trying to get rid of the car you just bought because you can get out of it you can't like make a bunch of money. You can get out of it without losing it.
10,000 miles.
Zero.
I doubled the miles and I spent nothing. That's not bad.
Filippo, can I tell you something? You bought your home like 2.5 years ago, right? I bet you could sell that for what you paid.
Get out of it. Sell it for more, and man, do I think about it.
You get out of it for 2.5 years, paid nothing. It's pretty good. That's pretty good. I got 2.5 years of living out of that house. Didn't pay a thing.
Now, I would be thrilled if that were the case, if this were a crazy car and you had the experience and it cost you nothing, like my F355 did. But instead, you got to drive around in a GTI with a stereo that didn't work and a headlight that squeaked.
Both are fixed, and the car is excellent. But like, shouldn't I have an actual fun sports car?
Yes, you should, but you should have done that first.
But I didn't, and now I've driven 10,000 miles.
We begged you the first time to do it. You were so taught.
I wasn't ready. Now maybe I'm ready.
I went on this long rant in some group text thread about people and like where they want to go with cars and where they end up with cars. And you're such a great example. Like the reason some of these cars are special, like a 911 or a Corvette, is because like a lot of the guys who talk about getting them end up on a GTI. And that's what happened here. And now you're still talking.
I can fix my errors.
Well, fine, then do it. I'll let you get out of the GTI. I'll let you get out of the Abarth if you go out and get a 997. Do it.
Or a 991 cab, or a C7, or maybe a Boxster.
Whatever.
Like
you know what? You know where that ends up? You know where that ends up, Kennan?
A Miata.
With another GTI.
No. That obviously ends up with an ND1 Miata for 12 grand.
Yeah, right. It's exactly. I'm gonna get a 997. How many? Do you have any idea how many people have come to me over the years? I'm gonna get an AMG wagon. Two months later, I follow up. Well, what'd you end up getting? Oh, a GLE base. I got leased a GLE base. Okay, we got to move on from talking.
I'm surprised there's not more support of this. There should be more support of mine maybe getting a cool car.
I'm supportive, but you were maybe going to get a 997 or a C7 when we launched this podcast, and you ended up with a GTI. Now you're selling GTI to go back. We can't take it anymore.
You guys have convinced me. I'm just going to keep the GTI. I was told I couldn't talk about buying a car until I bought a car.
Filippo, getting a 997 or a C7 is not like changing the world. Like, you can go get one. Like, they're pretty easy to buy and own. Like, it's not like you're buying a Diablo and you have to do like PPIs crossed globally. Like, just buy one and sell it then later. It's just fine. It's normal.
Maybe I should. I would have if I got more support, but so it goes.
What do you what? Get it. Oh, we begged you. You looked at that 997 in North Carolina. I begged you to buy.
I should have bought it in retrospect.
We had
listen to podcasts.
C7s on the site. I begged you to buy. We had two nice in the Southwest manual C7. You know what?
But now I can get out of my GTI for more than I am all in
because for him. For you, the thought of ownership, the exercise is what you enjoy, and then you enjoy the money part of it. It's the actual ownership you don't care for.
Yeah, I will say the federal government thinks that each mile I drive is worth 73 cents. Gas is probably 20 cents of that. I've made money. I've driven 10,000 miles for
every
no
mile
cost.
I've driven is 73 cents. So
Kennan,
something you
so
think
true.
about.
He cares for the ownership only in as much as he thinks about like the cost basis. Like, he doesn't. I think that he enjoys driving. Listen, Filippo, I know Filippo since he was a child. He's had every sports car, right? He had a Miata. He had this. What else did you have, Filippo, before? You had the 500 bar. He's never really actually liked any of them. He had a manual X5. True. And what he enjoys is like thinking about it, getting out of it, the whole financial aspect. That's fine. But Filippo, we cannot be tantalized any further on this podcast. Me, Kennan, the border division of the California Highway Patrol, we cannot continue. Thank you very much. Yes. Have a nice day, officer.
All right, fine.
There are only a few objects in your life that are absolutely essential to your well-being just because of how much time you spend with them. For me, it really comes down to two. My beloved E39 M5 and my mattress. Believe it or not, I'm equally in love with both. That's why I'm genuinely thrilled to have Brooklyn Bedding as a sponsor. They let me pick one of their mattresses to take out on a test drive, and I went with the Aurora Lux cooling mattress with the cloud pillow top. I'm genuinely astonished. It's a total game changer. Before this, I was tossing and turning, waking up hot, sore, and honestly still tired. Now I wake up refreshed after a night of cool, tranquil sleep. It's wild, and I am definitely not turning back. Now, I'm a side sleeper, so I need something soft enough for my shoulder, but still firm enough to keep my back happy. This thing nailed it. No more lower back pain, no overheating. Emily's sleeping better too, dreaming of track days in her E90 M3 CRT, which is really saying something. Brooklyn Bedding has been doing this for over 25 years. Top tier comfort and quality without the ridiculous luxury price tag. Every mattress is custom made by master craftsmen at their facility in Arizona, and they ship for free anywhere in the US. Plus, you've got up to 120 nights to sleep on it, and if it's not for you, they will help you return it and swap it for something better. So if you don't hug your mattress every night like I do, it's time to upgrade. Go to brooklynbedding.com and use our promo code CARS at checkout to get 30% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. You have to use our promo code on the very last page of checkout to get this discount. That's brooklynbedding.com and use our promo code CARS for 30% off site-wide. brooklynbedding.com with the promo code CARS.
I've got one more topic, though, which is a legitimate announcement. We are doing a very exciting collaboration with IMSA, the race series. We are going to be at Road America on the weekend of August 1st. Ken will be there. I'll be there. We will have a really cool cars and coffee during the IMSA race. I'm really excited for it. Check out the link below to learn more. Potentially buy tickets if you're in the area and have a cool car. More info to come, but I wanted to release it early here on the podcast.
The coolest thing about this is that it is, for the first time since Filippo was a small boy, he is returning to his homeland.
I'm so excited about that part specifically. Yes, I've spent so long in Wisconsin. I haven't been to Wisconsin in 8 years since my sister's wedding. It's time. 9 years since his wedding.
When you see Filippo at this
10 years
race, when you see Filippo at this race, go up to him and say, "Hey man, go Packers!" Like, Filippo's he's actually got a stake. He bought an ownership stake.
As every good Wisconsinite does, for the record.
We're gonna eat cheese curds. Can we go back to your childhood home?
I will absolutely not go back to the home where I lived. I'm not planning on going to Madison on this trip, although I would love to. But we'll see.
Shame.
Do you?
Cheese curds,
Are
yes.
you,
Cheese curds,
are
yes.
you able to pull up a street view of the home, or do people we know still live there? We're not going to do that.
No, nobody I know lives there, but it seems like a bridge too far.
Okay, there's a lot to discuss in the market report segment today. And Kennan and I both want to discuss the same thing, although I want to take it a little bit further, which is last week we keep talking about this, but I want to hammer the point because I want to keep seeing them on the site. Good swaps bring all the money. And last week we had some amazing swaps, both of which I wanted to buy, neither of which I bought. That is an E34 5 Series. BMW did an E34 M5 Touring, which that looks like it is. However, this was still in the day when M was supposed to be like the sporty, lightweight performance brand. And so the M5 actually had a 6-cylinder, but the regular 5 Series offered a V8. And they didn't make the M5 the real flagship until Kennan's car. This car solves all of that. It takes the drivetrain from the E39 M5, the very next M5, and the manual transmission, puts it in this car, and they didn't rice it out. They didn't make it look stupid. It looks great. This interior is so cool.
The interior is so cool. Go to the next photo with the seats. Yeah, look at that.
Everything about this car oozed cool. This thing came in, I saw the reserve number, I thought to myself, that is going to sell for way more. It is just too damn cool. And what did it sell for, like 35?
37,750. I mean, that's serious money for
I
this
think
car.
it's a bargain, honestly, even at 37,750. You can't do it for less, and it's hard to find a good E34 touring donor anymore. Those cars are gone.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's true.
That's fair.
Especially with a cool interior like that. And they did it right.
So
they just left on throwing stars. They didn't over modify it. It is cool as hell. That car is really special. And it takes the best two things about the 5 Series. The E34 was the best looking 5 Series, and the E39 had the best powertrain. And it puts them together in one great car.
Yep.
That's cool. But the obvious other one was this E46 M3 Touring.
Yes. Now this car was interesting in that. So the E46 not only does it have an E46 M3 drivetrain, engine, transmission, differential, all that. It also has the bodywork for an M3. Now, unlike the E34, which was left pretty much as it was, this one actually had the E46 M3 got wider fenders in the front and the rear. And this car had those done, and all the bodywork took forever. The owner was telling me it took a year to get this done, including this rear part here, which like the door is flared accordingly to with the arch, like for the gas cap. I mean, real effort was put into this. In addition to the full interior, which he was telling me is impossible to get. Like the black carpeting to get is really hard. Most of these had tan interiors. Like to find it is unbelievably difficult. He walked me through.
I never thought about that. Yeah, the wagons they were all like dark blue over tan, like every
So
every 23i.
Precisely. So to find that stuff, really, really difficult. The interior is done by the same person who did Doug's RS2 interior, so it's done very nicely. I mean, it's a really nice car, and yet again, also sold for serious money, 66 grand.
In fact,
for that car.
I want to say one thing here. This car was on the other auction site, and it was being sold by a friend of a friend. I didn't know the owner of the car, but I knew somebody. We had a mutual, and I said, it didn't sell. It didn't bring much money, and it didn't do well. And it had been modified. Like obviously the car's modified, but it had been lowered and all that. I said, what he really ought to do is make it look like a stock car, like an M3 that would have come out of the factory. And he did that. He made those changes, put on OE wheels, did a couple other things, took off some other modded parts. It took a couple months. And he made it look like that, and it was a really, really great decision. I actually think it would have probably gotten a little more if he had gone to the lower with the smaller wheel and raised the ride height a little. Like, you're selling this car at this point to a real BMW enthusiast who wants it to be basically OE. I wonder in my life if I will regret not buying this car.
No, I'll bet you won't, and I'll tell you why. He said he's going to do more of them, and he will sell them on the site. So they're coming. So your chance is not over yet, my friend. But nonetheless,
so cool.
It's special.
And the thing about the car that made that one particularly so cool is like that's the era that everybody wanted. But they only in this gen did a coupe and a convertible M3, which for people who have any needs of practicality, you were screwed. And the E46 is like the most beloved M3, right? The E36s were cool, but they were smaller and less powerful. The later cars were also cool, but less reliable, etc. They finally got 4-doors. If you wanted a 4-door variant, you can't get an E46, but here's your window. Anyway, the point of this whole segment was good swaps bring money. And these two cars are another great examples of like well done, really good swaps. Now, I do want to talk about the Tesla Galaxie. Pull that up. Did you see this come across, Ken?
That was so cool.
It was so cool.
Just do Galaxie.
Yeah, this was very interesting.
This sadly did not sell, which I was so disappointed about. This is a Ford Galaxie. It is a 1964 Ford Galaxie, but it's a Tesla drivetrain, right? I mean, it's got Tesla wheels.
From a Model 3 Performance.
And so maybe there's not a lot of people who are interested in this. We were just talking about how EVs and performance cars and enthusiasts don't really mix. But I thought it was cool as hell. Like the idea of it is cool as hell. And a Galaxie, it's not like you're losing like some really cool powertrain, you know.
That's the thing. I have long felt that for cars where the engine is not the major part of the experience, like F355, you want to hear the engine. It's like the Carrera GT, you want to hear the engine. It's about the LFA. It's all about the engine.
Right.
In cars where it really wasn't about that, EVs make a lot of sense. If you just want to drive around in a car that looks really cool, but you don't want to deal with the old car problems of dealing with carburetors and like fuel inefficiency and stuff like that, or you live in like a city that is really strict on emissions, like in city centers and things. Boom. I mean, that's a great solution. You get the analog feel and look with not a whole lot of the drawbacks. It's like the next stage of resto modding for cars.
Yeah.
So into it. Truly so into it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's cool.
Good swaps. I love a good swap. I love a good swap. Love a good smartly designed build.
Made over a weekend with a couple of cold ones.
That's right. We have to move on to the questions, folks. We have to move on to the questions. The questions are very important. The questions are brought to us by the Border Division of the California Highway Patrol. Kennan, can you pull up that picture? There you go. There it is. Questions. Look at that. The questions. Now, remember, you can ask us a question. You go to carsandbids.com. You click on the community tab, okay? And we have a little post there that says, ask us a question, ask us a question. This week, we got maybe more than we've ever gotten before. I don't know if that's true, but there were 250 comments in that thing. Whoa. Folks, I appreciate it. I appreciate your comments. We're going to do some good questions. There were some good ones. And we'll start with a question from Ryder17. I've seen a reel recently about the Corvette ZR1X, and people were arguing whether it was a supercar or not. My question is, what is the criteria for a car to be considered a supercar? Is it more than just performance with EVs having high performance 0 to 60? This is like an age-old argument that I'm not sure we're going to settle right here, but I've always felt that there was an exotic rarity component to it, in addition to performance and value.
And it's not just how many they made. There's like something else beyond
There's
that.
something, it's a certain X factor, which of course doesn't help to define it, but like it is like, there is like something to it.
There's something intangible that you can't say. I will tell you, to me, the ZR1X is kind of probably in that territory when you consider how rare it's going to be, how much it costs, how the market will treat it. Well, I also like shy away from the supercar definition anyway. In my mind, a supercar kind of has to be mid-engine, which would eliminate a lot of really special cars. I think the term exotic car is what I always use. Mm-hmm. And to me, the ZR1X is an exotic car. And I felt exotic was true of every ZR1. Like the C6 ZR1 to me was an exotic, the C7 ZR1, et cetera. That's like how I feel. I don't feel the way with the CO6.
I think it can't be just the high performance version of a sports car. Like I think the entire model lineup needs to either be a supercar or not.
No. I can give you 5,000 examples.
Give me one.
GT3. You're telling me a 996 GT1 isn't a supercar?
Correct.
Nice. There you go.
Correct.
You're telling me a CLK GTR isn't a supercar?
When you remove everything that makes a CLK a CLK, except for like the window,
well, that's what the 996
headlights, taillights.
No, the ZR1X is less changed than that.
Well, okay. What about a GT2 RS? What about
not a supercar?
Oh, come on! They made 100 of them, and they cost $500,000. That's crazy.
Rarity is not enough.
I actually kind of agree with you in the case of the 911.
Well, I knew you would agree with that.
You're not gonna take the 996 GT1. That's not a super. That's just a sports car. That's just
it's an exotic car. Certainly,
I'll take homologation.
The turbo hybrid NSX is a supercar, but the 996 GT1.
I didn't say that.
Oh wow, okay. See, there's this problem. It's hard to answer this question. There's a lot of not really sure about. I totally disagree that the top model can't be. I think it absolutely can be if it solves certain things. To me, a CLK DTM is an exotic. A CLK GTR is an exotic, obviously.
Yeah. No, exotic, I'm with you.
You're with me on ZR1 being an exotic?
Yeah.
All right, well, there we go.
I don't know. It feels too homegrown for me. I've just
Kennan's anti-America. That is what it is.
That's absolutely not true. Ford GT, get out of here.
Well, the Ford GT is a supercar.
Yeah, Ford GT is a legitimate supercar. It's like that court of justice that like I know it when I see it, and that's how I feel about supercars.
You don't think, but the Ford GT has just a V8 that's like modified and based.
But
off
it's like a standalone model that is so special, and that's why I'm going for the can't be top of the lineup. Like, there's something about it being purpose built. That's
an aluminum extruded chassis. It's a very
Macintosh stereo.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me that purpose built. Okay, CLK GTR doesn't count. Wow. Well, hey, you know what?
I don't know. CLK GTR I said
CLK
can count.
GTR, absolutely.
It can count because it's not really a CLK.
But then people get talking about a hypercar.
Hennessy Venom doesn't count.
What's that? I'm sorry. What version of the Hennessy Venom is?
He's going to say it's a Lotus, is what he's going to say.
The Lotus Elite.
No, doesn't count.
What do you mean? By the way, we talked about that
yeah.
SSC getting rolled over, which was the best thing that could have happened to it. All right, next question. The answer is we don't know, and we can't agree on it ourselves, Ryder, and that's why you can't agree on it either, and neither will your friends. And you can talk about it until you're blue in the face, or you can move on to the next question from Connor T72. Many car model nameplates have been around for decades. Which new nameplate from the last 10 years do you think will be in use in the 2080s? What a great and interesting thought exercise. It's hard to know because it's hard to know where the market will go, but the 2080s aren't that far away. There are definitely cars that were around 50 years ago, maybe even some that are around 75 years ago, like the Suburban, the Corvette. Like there will be cars in the 2080s when we're dead that are still around. Do you realize that?
True. What are I don't know.
It's going to be the Mustang, the Corvette, the stuff that resonates.
But those have been around for a while already, so it's not. These are like other new nameplates. I could imagine something like Model 3 existing for a long time.
The A-Class.
Yeah, probably. I'm trying to think of just what new nameplates exist. Because a lot of manufacturers have changed a lot of their naming or have gone back in the last decade.
And resurrected.
Last 2 decades, especially to older names.
Yeah, which I like.
Ford, for example, went like through a bunch of different things before ending back up at Taurus.
Miata.
Right, the 500.
500. It's exactly what I was thinking of. Miata is a good guess. Of course, it's not called the Miata at other markets.
You won't let me get away with anything that's not brand new. It's hard to know. It depends a lot on what happens to the market. But there will definitely be car nameplates that continue. Like some of these car brands are almost more valuable than their manufacturers from a nameplate perspective. And so
e-tron.
Yeah, e-tron, obviously a well-known nameplate that like very, very high quality
Mercedes EQ.
EQS.
EQ technology. Just with
EQS.
With EQ technology.
Right. G580. You want a nameplate that'll be around in the 2080s? G580 with EQ technology, stronger than time.
That'll be the 2080 edition.
Okay, it's an interesting question. You can give us your thoughts if you want. Next question from Florida Manthi. Anytime the RS2 comes up on the pod, you can see there's some pain behind those eyes. And by pain, I mean contempt. Is there a story there? Kennan, why don't you tell the story of the RS2? I owned this car. It's a 1994 Audi RS2 Avant. I owned this car.
Yeah,
look at
this car. It was very special. Looks amazing. Very slow and had some electrical issues. But it is
not that slow.
It was not fast.
Here's what happened.
I brought my first son home from the hospital in this car.
There you go.
There.
Doug has decided that he didn't like his experience with the RS2, primarily because he had the wrong expectations. Just like he had the wrong expectations with the Ferrari 360 that he owned. He wanted it to be something it was never going to be, and therefore he's disappointed.
That's astute. I think that's correct. And by the way, I don't blame myself necessarily for that. Like it's the way you go into it. I did have the wrong expectation. I think you're exactly right. However, the car didn't deliver on what I was hoping it would be. Ultimately, I think one of the problems with, I will tell you this, the RS2 and the A-Class were unbelievably informative of my automotive life, and in a way that my friends are really regretful about, because I don't buy cars anymore. And I had always wanted an A-Class, and I had always wanted an RS2. I bought both of them. They were both disappointments. They both cost me a lot of money. I think the RS2 I probably broke even. But I realized like it isn't worth it unless you're going big for a car that is really, really, really special. The RS2 is beautiful. It has a very special part in Porsche's history and an Audi's history. but ultimately was an early 90s car with a lot of plastic and a lot of stuff that didn't work all that well or didn't work right ever. The door locks, the windows. When I sold this car, I was incredibly disclosure-ary of all of its flaws. And everybody's like, this car is so flawed. I've watched other RS2s come up where people did not disclose, and I could tell from having owned one that it had a lot of the flaws mine had. These cars had problems. They weren't well built, and they're just plasticky early 90s cars that happen to have a history. And if you want the driving experience and enjoyment, it's not there. I enjoyed looking at the car. There is maybe not a car I have ever owned, truly, including the Countach, where when I parked it, I turned around and looked at it more than the RS2.
Yeah.
I loved the cup wheels. I loved the color. I had always idolized the car. But the actual act of driving it. And one of the things that I've discovered, I go away for the summer, I'm here on the East Coast, and when I come back to California in the fall, one of the things I've discovered is if I haven't thought about the car, or if I haven't missed the car, it's gone. It's gone. Like within a few months. And I think I sold this in like October, November.
Let me ask you a question.
This another blue car you own.
Yeah. Have we thought about the Ford GT outside of this podcast?
Never selling that car. I love that. Wait. I want to amend that because everybody's like, I'm never selling. I will sell that car one day, but I have no plans to sell anytime soon. I will tell you, Kennan, if you find me an F40, I will get that, which is our next question. Our next question here from Just a Racer. Doug, this is your F40, branded title, spun out and hit a fence, and high miles. It's waiting for you. Can you pull up this F40? It's at Specialty Car Collection, Your Friends in Los Angeles. You know them? You remember them?
I do. John from Specialty Car Collection.
Yeah, John. Kennan's done a video or two there.
Texting me about this car.
Super
so
nice
let me tell you the story. This F40, they got two. You want the cheaper one. Keep going. No, that's not it.
It's not the 90.
No, keep going. Scroll. There you go.
This one.
There it is. They're asking what now? 2.2 for this car?
It's not listed.
Okay, so here's the deal. This car was on Gas Monkey Garage. Kennan, you remember this car?
Oh, I remember it very well.
Some time ago in Texas, this car was driving at an event and it spun out. It not only hit a fence, as is posted in this question, but it also hit a building and many other things. I've seen pictures of it directly post-accident. It wasn't pretty. It's not as bad as you might think. It wasn't pretty. Monkey Garage got a hold of the car, Richard Rawlings, when that was going on, and they restored the car. But they also made it like cooler, like they made it black. It was black with wheels and lowered and big turbos and all this stuff. Pull up a picture of the Gas Monkey F.
Oh yeah.
At some point after that, the car was brought back to stock because now these have become so valuable. When Gas Monkey owned the car, it was maybe a $500,000 car. That's what they had. Somebody brought it back to stock. So I did actually send a note over to the folks who have this F40 because it's a cheapie as F40s go with a mere $2.2 million ask. The drawback with this car for me is that it is actually not a low mile car. It has 11,000 miles. In the F40 community, there are cars in Europe that have approaching 100,000 miles. And so this car is not particularly low, or not particularly high, rather. It's pretty valuable still. But most importantly, it's a U.S. car, which is the real drawback of this car. The U.S. cars bring a lot more money. And so this is a cheap U.S. car. It's probably the cheapest U.S. F40. But if it were a Euro, it would be under 2, and then we'd be having a conversation. Nonetheless, it's out of my wheelhouse. Kennan, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it is a driver. I mean, all of the work was documented. You can watch it. Like, I've watched the series, like, it was repaired many times. I mean, the frame was bent. They had to, like, completely do that. They had to cut parts of it out, weld parts of it in. I mean, it's been under the knife. And then, who knows who set it back to being red and, like, correct. Yep. And so, like, this will forever be the cheapest, I suspect, US F40.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I mean, I would love for you to have an F40. You're not going to do it, and that's fine. And I think that's okay. The Countach is plenty. The Courier GT is amazing. The F40 will be the one that got away.
Wow.
Filippo, are you sad about that?
Not at all. Truly don't care.
You cursed him. That's what it was. You cursed him. You bought him a Ferrari to say, congratulations, you're going to get an F40. You bought him this F40 model, and guess what? He never did it.
He decided not to.
It's your fault. Your fault. You're to blame.
Listen, it's a complicated story that one day we should devote a whole podcast to. But yes, I believe that Filippo played a role in it with his curse. I believe that. I agree with Kennan.
Some things are just not meant to happen.
And I didn't do it in part because of the curse. There is a hex. Speaking of, next question from K. Sherves. Doug, do you let other people drive your special cars? Countach, Courier GT, etc. Apparently, the Throttle House guys want to review a Courier GT. I wonder if Doug would let them review it. A couple of months ago, we had, was it Hammond? Richard Hammond wanted to come and drive the Courier GT, and I said no.
Well, I mean, probably good. He has a reputation for, having issues with driving cars.
I used to let everybody drive my cars all the time, but the cars have gotten so valuable that I think it's best they don't. And it's not because I'm selfish or want to gatekeep them or whatever. If something happened, it would be a really bad day for everyone involved. Like very few of, I don't hang out with other people who have finances like this level. I don't think that anybody I know could afford to replace any of these cars. Obviously, they're insured, but that brings up a whole thing. This Countach is very special, this particular one. The Courier GT, with all the work that's been done on it, do you find another one? I think it would get bad.
The E450.
Mostly what I hear from people is that they don't want the E450. Mostly what I hear from people is that they don't want to drive my special cars. Is that true?
100% accurate.
True. I've driven. I mean, Kennan has driven some of yours. I've driven.
I've never driven a car of his. That's not true. The Defender. That's it.
You never drove the Ford GT?
No, absolutely not. I've driven them before, but I don't need to drive.
I will say I have driven Doug's cars, not all of them.
The Ford GT.
And it's purely, and the G cab, and it's purely in the situation of this car needs to move from here to here for some purpose, and it's not for driving enjoyment. It is truly for transit. And that's fine. I don't mind. Like, great. I don't have any interest in driving any of your cars or somebody else's car in general in any aggressive fashion.
I feel a little bad about it because I want people to experience the Ford GT and I want people to experience the Countach. Most of the time when I take them out, though, we're like going on a drive, and most people are driving something the special they want to drive on the drive. And so, but I want people to experience those cars. I want people to experience the Courier GT as well. I truly think that if everyone drove that car in our group, they would all come away thinking it's the greatest car they've driven. However, I think that the risk to everybody is just so significant that it kind of
it would impact the trajectory of the rest of everybody.
Yeah, it would.
Honestly.
In a not great way. Now, Sean drove the Countach. None of you, Kennan, you never drove the Countach still?
I never drove the Countach because the day we were going to go photograph it, I was feeling ill and woozy and like I had vertigo. And so that's not the car you want to drive when you're not feeling good.
You've started up the car. You've driven.
I moved the car. I have the caretaker for the car while Doug is away on the East Coast. And so I run it through a warm-up sequence every 3 weeks. And I take to look after the car, I check it for leaks, check its oil level. I do all the things, around the car. It's the only car of yours I would like to drive. All the other, like the Courier GT, I don't want to deal with. The Ford GT I've driven them before, and it's a wonderful car, but I'm fine with that. I don't want to drive I've driven the All-Terrain. I take that. I've driven the All-Terrain, and that is a very good car. And I have no interest in the Sequoia.
I feel bad about it because it was always used to be a thing of mine. I would always let my friend drive my.
But I don't. The other thing is like it's because it's not going to be it wouldn't be a pleasant experience anyway because it's yours, and I'd be overly careful.
If something happened too, there's another aspect of it, which is like we'd have to make videos. Like if one of my cars got damaged, you couldn't not make a content about that because people know these cars are out there. So then you'd have to be like, Kennan crashed my whatever, and that would suck too. And it's just nobody wants to go down this road.
Nope.
Right. Always think of the content. Thank you. But yes, I agree with that. I don't want that reputation. And I certainly am not going to crash the Countach. So
I'm going to do two more very quick questions. Number one from Caliber ORP. Wait, three more very quick questions. And the last one's for Kennan. This one's for Sean. Your producer, Sean, has some interesting cars. Those who follow him on Instagram know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Sean open to making videos of his cars on the Cars and Bids channel? Off-roading the G, taking the 360 to the track, using the Alpha as a grocery getter. Let me tell you about Sean. Sean is our producer, okay? He doesn't touch the equipment. Like that's for the people who are like the camera folks.
Competent, yeah.
He doesn't appear on screen, right? Somehow he's figured out a way to make a living in this industry without doing any technical stuff with the equipment or with actually being talent. I don't know how. So he's out there somewhere doing this. It makes no sense to me. But Sean is like, he's like ephemeral. He's like around somewhere.
Right. No, we love.
We love Sean.
He has stated that he has no interest in being on camera, and he just wants to enjoy his cars and park them crookedly at these.
The craziest thing about Sean is that he does the stuff that would be good content, but he does it contentless. Like he drove his 360 from San Diego to Monterey, took it on Laguna Seca, and drove it home. Yep. And he just did it. It wasn't for content. He just did it because he wanted to. He took his G-Wagon out to the desert without a support vehicle just to do it and drive off-road. And just, so we don't know. Sean is a mystery. He's a mystery.
One time he raced a Toyota Previa in his Alpha and blew the engine. Things happened to Sean.
That is true. He was racing in Mexico, as you guys know, a Toyota Previa, and as he was losing, the motor in his Alpha blew.
No, it was on Laguna Seca.
Yeah, right.
Down the corkscrew. He got on that straight after that. He powered out of the corner and just pop went the head.
To be clear, he was racing a mid-engined supercar in a lot of ways.
Right. Next question from Costa Phil H0. Doug, will you buy the successor to the F40, allegedly built by Ferrari in collaboration with Lewis Hamilton? If it has a manual transmission, doesn't cost $10 million, would you sell any of your cars to do it? Yeah, in the right circumstances, I would love that. Like if Ferrari actually created a car that had a manual transmission, was limited production, was not a hybrid, and was really cool. And for whatever reason, I was asked to buy it. Like I don't think I would be on that list. I would probably seriously consider that. I would consider an SP3 if it was affordable. Like truly. My understanding is they're $5 to $7 million. I would consider an SP3 at a much lower number, but they're not affordable. So
as somebody who saw an SP3 the other day, don't.
We did see an SP3 driving on the PCH the other day.
And it was not.
Wow.
It's cool as hell.
It's so cool. Oh my gosh, Filippo, it's a V12, NA V12, non-hybrid.
I like cars.
It looks like a concept car.
Whether or not it looks nice, it certainly looks striking, which is to me one of the classifications for wanting a special car. I don't necessarily need it to be beautiful. I want it to be striking, and it has three very special things: super low production. The V12 from the LaFerrari without the hybrid BS. That's a huge deal. And it's a convertible, which the LaFerrari essentially wasn't. I mean, they made up Hertzes, but they're even more expensive. And it's kind of the dream. Like, it kind of is like what you'd want.
Technically, because the engine is the same family that has been used since the Enzo, you could say that it has an Enzo engine, if you prefer to say that compared to the LaFerrari.
Think about that. Like, that is, after all these years, probably the best car to use that engine. Is that one. Final question. This one is for Kennan. This is a three-part question, including one for Filippo and one for Doug, but I'm only going to ask the Kennan one to stir up controversy. Kennan, you've talked a lot about different cars you're looking at getting. Have you settled on your second vehicle, and when are you going to purchase it?
I have not. It's just everything I'm looking for, I can't find. It's just like, it's like, I don't know, first-gen Vipers have really had a spike in value recently. Like 50 is like what they've gone up to from 35 where they were like over the winter.
You bought.
Yeah, if only. Yeah.
If only you bought.
Big words coming from you.
I bought a car. Okay.
You bought a car you didn't want. You bought
I
it
do
on
want
accident.
it. I'm into it. It's a great car. 10,000 miles.
I haven't come to the trouble is like all the cars I want, like really want are about $100,000. I just don't want to spend $100,000 on a car. And I know it sounds absurd, but it's true. Like the Boxster Spider is in that range. A Ferrari 575 or a 612 is in that range. Like it's like they're just a lot of cars that are really expensive.
But Kennan, you're 30. Not the right time. Like, do you want to let yourself waste away having never had all these experiences?
I owned my dream car when I was 27.
For an afternoon. Don't you want to do more? I do want to do more. It's just like I don't know. It's like admittedly I've sunk too much financially into the M5, and that is on why, since that has taken a lot of my car budget allocation. Although I've been very good on spending this year. But I don't know. It's like I don't know, because the cars I want are so much more really are passionate about are so much more expensive, and so it's hard to like scratch that itch for me to be. You could be driving, if you hadn't spent so much on the M5. You could be driving an Evora IPS right now.
Wow! If only.
Filippo's like, what is the Evora IPS?
Although I would take
familiar with the Evora. Is that? Ends there.
I'll tell you what, a yellow Evora is a pretty good. Even a normal one's nice.
It was the automatic.
Yeah.
That's what they called the automatic.
I don't think we sold.
I don't think we have.
I don't think only manual ones.
Not a lot of interest.
No.
Okay, so the
Rare.
answer is Kennan's not buying a car. Filippo's only buying a car if he can sell his car for what he paid for it. And I'm
More.
not
I need to get more.
What kind of podcast is this? We need Nick on here. He buys a car every afternoon.
That's true.
So true.
Okay, do we have anything else? This is the greatest podcast we've ever done. Do you guys have any
It really is the greatest one we've ever done. I agree with that.
It was very enjoyable. We miss you a lot. Can't wait to see you.
You know who I miss is the border division of the California Highway Patrol. Great.
Well, luckily for you, there they are.
Men and women who work for them.
Always watching.
Always watching. All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.